lines.
Russia gains control of Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Western countries, including US, impose sanctions on Russia. Sri Lanka to receive fuel consignment from Singapore. 2 diesel tankers on the way. Farmers angered over affected cultivations. Scuffles break out at a queue in Hambantota and Kalutara. Police to investigate how a torch was brought into parliament. Provincial council elections to be held under the old electoral system.
In your top story this afternoon, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is escalating quite rapidly at present, causing more casualties, including those of civilians. Newsfirst's Azra Asan has the latest on this story.
Russians are now invading Ukraine. They started their attacks from the east border of Ukraine, and now it is moving towards the center of the country. Yesterday, Russian president announced that he will be launching a special military operation in Ukraine. It is as a response to the allegations and the threats leveled by the Ukrainian president. So far, 137 people have died in Ukraine owing to these attacks, and this number includes soldiers and civilians as well. Now, the people in Ukraine are fleeing their homes in an attempt to leave the country.
Russian forces have been moving quickly across Ukrainian territory on several different fronts. They have taken control of Chernobyl, the site of a 1986 nuclear disaster and a place that remains radioactive to this day. Ukraine's president warned such a disaster could happen again if Russia continued its invasion. Fighting has broken out at key locations, including at an airfield near the capital, Kiev. Amid all the fighting, the United Nations estimates that more than 100,000 people have already fled their homes. Border guards at neighboring countries such as Poland, Hungary and Moldova have seen migrant families arrive. US President Joe Biden met with the leaders of 7 rich Western countries called the G7 yesterday. After the meeting, he said severe economic sanctions will be imposed against Russia.
We will limit Russia's ability to do business in dollars, euros, pounds and yen to be part of the global economy. Will limit their ability to do that. We're going to stunt the ability to finance and grow the Russian military. We've cut off Russia's largest bank, a bank that holds more than 1/3 of Russia's banking assets by itself, cut it off from the U.S. financial system. And today, we're also blocking 4 more major banks. That means every asset they have in America will be frozen.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said 137 civilians and military personnel have been killed in the Russian invasion.
According to preliminary data today, unfortunately, we have lost already 137 of our heroes, our citizens, including 10 officers. There are 316 injured. According to our information, the enemy has listed me as target number 1 and my family as target number 2. They want to destroy the country politically, terminating the heads of state. We must talk about the end of this invasion. We must talk about ceasefire. But right now, our country's fate depends fully on our military.
Мою родину як ціль номер 2. Вони хочуть знищити Україну політично.
As the invasion continues, the US has said it will deploy an additional 7,000 troops to Europe.
Russia's defense ministry has said it has achieved all its goals and that it has destroyed 83 land targets. Ukrainian police said Russia had carried out 203 attacks since the beginning of the day. The Russian invasion has drawn mixed reactions from the international community as well. The South African government has called on Russia to immediately withdraw its forces from Ukraine. They have said the effects of the conflict will not only affect Ukraine but also reverberate across the world. But Syria has said it supports the Russian President Vladimir Putin's decision to recognize two Moscow-backed separatist-held regions in eastern Ukraine as independent. Sri Lanka's foreign ministry says it is deeply concerned about the escalation of violence in Ukraine. In a statement, the ministry emphasized the need for joint efforts to resolve the crisis through diplomacy and dialogue. Foreign Secretary Professor Jayanath Konabage was questioned about this at a media briefing this morning.
If someone is invading another country, principally it is wrong. When the NATO expansion is coming to the doorsteps, missiles, radar systems are being installed around them, they also feel insecure. That is why I said the world should have handled this issue more carefully, more differently. I did not even say we are maintaining a neutral position and let them fight. No, not that. And also we have to see whether we are going to respond as a region, whether we are going to respond as SARC, whether we are going to respond as BIMSTEC, or whether we are going to respond individually to this situation. We are very concerned about the impact on our economy, so we are monitoring the situation.
Sri Lanka's foreign ministry has instructed the embassy to coordinate the return of Sri Lankans to the country. Sri Lankans in Ukraine can contact the embassy on the following numbers that can be seen on your screen right now.
As Russia continues its Ukrainian invasion, Taiwan has warned away 9 Chinese aircraft that entered its air defense identification zone. Taiwan's foreign ministry said fighters were sent up to warn the Chinese aircraft. It added that defense missiles have been deployed to monitor the activities. Foreign media is reporting that Taiwan has been watching the Ukrainian crisis amidst concerns that China may try to take advantage to move on the island. Moving on to local news, power cuts of more than 5 hours is being imposed in many areas across the country today as well.
People's lives have been badly affected by the power cuts that were imposed for nearly 5 hours yesterday. Residents of Minneria experienced a power cut between 7 and 9:30 last night. They said this has affected their day-to-day activities.
Electricity Board says power cuts up to 4 hours and 40 minutes is to be imposed in areas under Group A, B and C between 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. tonight. A 5-hour and 15-minute power cut will be imposed between 8:30 a.m. to 9:45 p.m. in areas under other groups. To access the detailed schedule on power cuts, visit our website www.newsfirst.lk.
Power generation from hydropower plants have been limited to 750 megawatts as water levels in reservoirs have decreased by 40%. The Ceylon Electricity Board said 1,341 megawatts of power can be obtained from thermal power plants, with renewable energy contributing 80 megawatts. The power plant in Battala is inactive as it has run out of furnace oil. Power plants in Kalanithissa, Tulhiriya, Matugama and several other areas are also inactive. The national grid has lost 574 megawatts of power. The energy minister has said that it would provide 10,200 metric tons of diesel to the CEB from a consignment that was unloaded yesterday. But the CEB's spokesperson said the diesel has not been given to the CEB since the 2nd of this month. He added that fuel has only been provided to privately run plants. A ship carrying 38,400 tons of petrol is to arrive from Singapore today. Energy Ministry Secretary KDR Olga said letters of credit worth $33 million would be issued to clear the shipment. A spokesperson at the Energy Ministry said the cost of petrol shipped to the country would remain unchanged, although crude oil prices have risen globally. The Energy Ministry said 2 ships carrying diesel and furnace oil are to reach the island in the coming days. Long queues were seen at many filling stations in the country today as well. Filling stations in Marvanalla town had run out of fuel.
While long queues across the island were reported at filling stations, Newsfirst Senator Senanaika took a tour of Colombo to see how the fuel shortage has affected the commercial capital of Sri Lanka.
With the prevailing shortage of fuel in the country, you can see long queues of vehicles being formed in filling stations in Colombo and suburban urban areas. And when we asked the employees who are working here at this filling station, right now I'm at the filling station in Town Hall. When we asked the employees of this filling station as to the reason why these long queues of vehicles are formed, they said that vehicles from Kadawatha, Kiribadgoda and Maharagama have come to Colombo to get fuel, as there are fuel shortages in filling stations in those areas. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Senator Senanaika. What will happen to the economy of a country if power cuts are imposed for 3 to 5 hours a day? What will happen to businesses and factories? What will happen to garment factories? What will happen to the tea factories? What about the laborers? Can the economy grow? They don't have a plan. They don't even impose power cuts properly. They bring up new issues to cover up the old ones. That's their strategy. News bulletins run out of time to report all these issues. This has left us wondering whether these issues were caused naturally or whether they were created.
Speaker Mahinda Yapa today informed the Parliament that a complaint has been filed to the IGP. The complaint has been filed seeking an investigation into an incident where MP Harin Fernando had brought a torch into the Parliament.
At least we need to convene a party leaders meeting to discuss the details of the report and take this up as an urgent matter. These have taken place in Parliament for a long time. I remember when Ranil Wickremesinghe was seated here, they bought a flower garland and placed it opposite to him. It is in fact part of our parliamentary tradition. Many serious incidents have occurred in Parliament. We know the ministers, deputy ministers and state ministers have torches in their possession. Some had even requested for it in writing. I wish to ask the Speaker whether bringing torches had caused damage, just like when all of you threw chili powder and chairs around. The problem is not with the torch. The police officers who were on duty said that there was a torch in Harin Fernando's bag. He had told the police officers that it was in his possession and he had brought it inside after informing the sergeant at arms. But Harin Fernando and Manushana Naikara had gone out and brought in a parcel forcefully, despite not being allowed to do that. I agree with Kiriella. We have also been involved in brawls. It's normal for that to happen. But we know that bombs have exploded in this house. They have brought a knife in as well. Chili powder was also brought in. The police officers are wondering what to do when an MP brings a parcel forcefully. That has been captured on CCTV cameras. They are requesting for this to be investigated without interdicting them. I have already received the report on this. This is regarding a parcel that was brought into Parliament. I will be filing a complaint with the IGP over this, seeking an investigation. There is no issue in opposing something. They have obstructed the duty of state officials. I will conduct an investigation and then inform the House on the future course of action. No explosions, injuries or deaths were reported after bringing in the second parcel. However, we saw that they have not been able to arrest Harin Fernando in the past. I am requesting to avoid arresting him, using this as an excuse, as that is a violation of parliamentary privilege. We have not called for his arrest. There is a serious problem. What we say is that there is a severe issue here. You have said that you have called for an investigation. If they have obstructed their duties, then we must take legal action against that.
A media briefing was held in Colombo today on Sri Lanka's preparations for the upcoming human rights sessions.
කිසිම රජයක් මේ රජයට බලපෑම් කළ යුතු නැහැ
Any government doesn't have to pressurize our government to do certain things. They must recognize the good things that are being done and then support them. Only then we will be able to see an end to this problem. Before speaking about human rights, it's important to ensure the right to life. If we look at the conduct of countries that are leveling accusations against us during the last 2 days, we can prove that they are violating human rights by invading other countries and causing loss of life. But we don't want to argue that we would do the same just because they do it. If there is an issue, we will do the needful to ensure peace in the country. What we wish to tell everyone is that they should support us in order to achieve the desired result.
උදව් කරන්න මේ කර්තව්‍යයේදී මේවට නිසි ප්‍රතිඵල ලබා ගැනීමට.
Up next is Crime Watch.
Crime Watch.
A suspect was arrested over the killing of a woman at her residence in Balika Road, Matugama on the 15th of this month. 6 bullet shells of a T-56 firearm were discovered at the crime scene where the 37-year-old woman was shot dead.
Crime Watch.
The body of a Dutch woman has been discovered at a house in Vellavatta. The police said that the woman was found in a washroom of a house that she had been living on rent. The deceased was 66 years of age.
Crime Watch.
That's a wrap of lunchtime news for today here on TV1. Thank you for joining. For all these stories and much more, you can log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. To have yourself a pleasant day ahead.